Welcome back to Shadow to Soul. I'm Deshni, a regression therapist and a soul guide. In this podcast, I share real stories from the work that I do. Stories that show how our past experiences shape the way we feel, the way we think, and how we interact with others. This is a client story. It explores how patterns formed in early life continue to play out in relationships. Emma had gone through a divorce the previous year. She found her husband had been unfaithful to her, but she had experienced infidelity in all of her past relationships. It was clearly a pattern. And as she was healing from this, she found herself emotionally connected to someone who could not fully be with her. Andy had been her friend for a very long time. He had always been there for her, always been supportive, and always been available whenever she needed him. Over the year after her divorce, that connection became very important to her. But there was one reality within this connection that limited how much he was able to be there for her. He was married. He had openly said to her that his marriage was a marriage on paper and it wasn't a romantic relationship that he had with his wife. What she noticed, despite the depth of their connection and the evidence of something more than just friendship, he was not willing to commit beyond that. He was not willing to end this marriage. She wanted to understand why she was still drawn to this. This was a pattern that she was trying to break. In Emma's first two sessions, she was emotionally guarded. Those sessions brought up her later years, her 20s and 30s, where she had experienced moments of doubt, moments of rejection within her marriage and past relationship. But the actual point where these patterns started haven't yet emerged. On this particular day, she came in feeling really distraught. She was feeling this overwhelming sense of rejection. This rejection she was feeling, she recognized was disproportionate to what had actually happened. The previous day, she was meant to meet Andy for dinner, just a routine catch up. And at the last minute, he had to cancel on her because his wife needed him for some other social engagement. This was something that had happened in the past, and it was something that she had readily understood and accepted. But this time, she felt so deeply rejected. She was so hurt. And when she came in for the session, she was the most emotionally vulnerable she had been, guiding her into this feeling of rejection. Today, she allowed her awareness to go inwards completely. And today, her awareness took her back to her childhood. She was 3 years old and she was with her mother. Her mother's presence felt strong, intimidating, and full of anger. It felt unpredictable. She didn't feel safe. And she recognized that as a child, she learned to be careful. She learned to adjust herself. She learned to accept that this adjustment was needed in order to prevent her mom's anger. And as she understood this, she recognized an intense dislike for her mom. She found herself feeling angry and resentful towards her mom. She did not like her mom. And as she continued to stay within that feeling, she recognized something deeper. In that dislike for her mom, in that rejection she felt for her mom, the same rejection existed within herself, of herself. She felt this lack of acceptance from her mom, and that created the lack of acceptance of herself. She felt that if her mom didn't accept her, then her mom couldn't love her. She decided in that moment that she wasn't deserving of love or connection. And this type of interaction with her mother happened many times. And this truth ended up becoming her belief system. She felt unloved by her mom, which made her believe that she was not deserving of any love or connection. Because if her mother couldn't love her, nobody else could. Her father brought a different experience. There were moments of acceptance, moments of affection, and moments of love. But these moments were just that. They were not consistent. Love felt present and then uncertain. And that became her familiarity and her norm within relationships. Love was present and then uncertain. As she navigated through life, she recognized this same pattern through all her relationships: connection and distance. Because connection and distance was what she understood love to be. She recognized that she had learned to remain in situations where her needs were not met in order to feel peace, in order to maintain peace. She had learned to adjust herself to maintain connection. To help this 3-year-old child to find peace, I guided her into understanding with higher wisdom her mom's position. And she was able to observe her mom without the filter of dislike, rejection, or unacceptance. And what she saw was her mom deeply loved her. Her mom deeply adored her. But her mom had been going through a terrible time in her life. She had no support. She was raising her own children single handedly. And in those early days, her father was not present for her mom. Her father was unavailable to her mother. And without the help and without the ability to cope, she had been in fight or flight herself. So the anger that she felt and expressed to her children was anger she felt towards herself in her own life. With this understanding, Emma was able to bring compassion to her mom. She felt love for her mom. And finally, she was able to release that rejection, that distance, and that dislike that she had held all these years. When she did the energy exchange with her mom, she was able to reclaim her resources of self love, self worth, and the ability to express her needs. With all this awareness, she was able to let go of that belief system that had kept her in that loop of infidelity. She released the belief system that she didn't deserve to be loved, that she was unworthy of it. She recognized that if she couldn't fully love herself and she couldn't fully choose herself and commit to her own self, no one else would. In understanding this, she recognized that she has the power to make a different choice. She also wanted to understand if there was a deeper connection with Andy, a connection that goes beyond this lifetime. Was it karmic? Was there an incomplete past life? So within the session, I guided her towards her higher self and asked the question to her higher self. The response was immediate and clear. There was no past life influencing this relationship. The purpose of this experience with Andy was to reveal the pattern. It was the opportunity to set it right. It was the opportunity to create the empowerment to choose differently. After that session ended, over the course of a few months, she noticed a change in their relationship. She noticed the attachment go, and she noticed that she was able to just maintain friendship with him, friendship without expectations beyond the realm of friendship. And she was able to be there for him as a friend. The need for her to stay connected reduced. And what she recognized was a friendship that was just that. Friends were there for each other when they needed help and support, with nothing else underlying that. She was able to focus fully on herself, on her choices, on her life. And what she found 8 months later was a connection that was equal, and she was able to express what she needed from this relationship. She was able to hear what he needed and to give what she could give. She found a relationship where there was balance. She was able to see things clearly, and she felt it was different. Patterns in relationships often begin long before the relationship itself. When these patterns are seen clearly for what they are, and the origin of the patterns are understood, different choices can be made. She didn't need to look beyond this life for answers. She understood her own role in all the relationships that she had. She understood the contribution of her own belief system that had manifested itself in all these experiences that she had. It was her journey into healing that allowed her to recognize another potential experience of the same belief system. And in recognizing that, she was able to seek help and break that pattern. In recognizing this experience for what it was, an experience to understand why was it happening again. And once she saw it with awareness, with clarity, she was able to move forward differently. If this episode resonated with you, stay on this journey with me. If it brought value, please take a moment to rate the podcast. This allows it to be found by others who may also find value in it. Thank you for being here with me. Until next time, from shadow to soul.